Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wimpy Studio, and today I'm here with a brand new video for you guys. We are going to be doing something I've been wanting to do for a while, that is ranking the first 15 books of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid book series, and I'm here with my friend Akshay to do it, so thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me on.
So, luckily the rankings weren't as hard as we thought they would be. Everything kind of fell into place, I think. So I just thought we would kind of go back and forth on uh, we're going to go from bottom 15th place all the way up to first place. So I thought I would start 15th place with the deep end. And this is the one we probably had the most issues with when it comes to story wise. Here's okay. It's just unrealistic, simply. I think it kind of brought down the Wimpy Kid name. You think about it, like, is it really, are the Wimpy Kid characters really like acting like themselves? And also, the Heflets aren't really acting like a family here, is also the problem. So you just kind of take the Wimpy Kid name off. It could really just be a book by itself. It still had that like that fun and suspenseful vibe, but like it just, yeah, it was just way too dramatic, and it just kind of brought down the Wimpy Kid series, in my opinion.
Okay, so the book I'm going to be talking about in 14th place is The Last Straw. So this book had an interesting plot in it, but it was not really engaging as the other books, and it wasn't as realistic as other books. Because most kids, when their parents like say a crazy punishment, obviously it's just threatening them. Greg took that kind of seriously, and and it wasn't just a small part of the book that actually took a major portion of the book. So I think that kind of lowered the quality of the story. But it other than that, it did have an interesting plot. But another issue that I had with this book is that it also had like a lot of like one-time characters that we never saw in the books after this. One, for example, one of those were like Manuel Gonzalez. So those were like some people on Greg's soccer team. And I wish they had like stayed in future books, um, so that we'd get to know more characters. So this was just more of a one-time book that didn't really fit into the series as well as I wished it would.
Yeah. Okay. So coming up in 13th place, we have the third wheel. Um, and what's interesting here is that I mean, I review like a lot of like drama shows on my YouTube channel, so like I'm fine with the topic, but this would just kind of did not do it for me. I mean, you look at the back cover here; it's such a weird picture. I think it's just out of character for Greg, and maybe that's the point. They wanted to show something new and make him step out of the box a little bit, because we always see that he's has struggles with getting a girlfriend. But I still feel like the idea of romance was just pushed too far. Like it wasn't really doing it for me. The book kind of like dragged by the end, like what has happened. And it also put Greg and Raleigh at odds once again by the end. So I just thought too much drama. And yeah, it was just wasn't really doing it for me.
All right, so in 12th place we have Hard Luck. So this book ended the rivalry rivalry between Greg and Raleigh. So they had a rivalry for a couple of books, quite a few books, and this started in The Ugly Truth. So this book really had a boring plot, and I guess the most interesting thing in this book is Mima's diamond wedding ring that was lost, and everyone in the family was trying to find it because they wanted to keep it for themselves to get more money. But uh, Greg found it and kept it a secret, even from his own immediate family, and kept it to himself. But other than that, this story was really boring. It was it was supposed to be a continuation of Hard Luck in a way because Riley and Abigail were supposed to stop dating, which they did. But this book really didn't have anything else to it other than that a family story.
Yeah. That one just did have some like a boring. I mean, not it's not that bad, but Double Down comes in 11th place. And this is probably to this point, like in Dark Women Kid books, this is probably the latest book that still had that middle school vibe. Still had that energy, and because it kind of felt like book one in a way. It had some of the same stuff. It had like Halloween. It had like different book challenges. It kind of had um like somewhat of a fresh start. Only the problem here is that they kind of made like a dumb movie, which really took up too much of the time. I did not really understand that. Still, it's a good book, but I felt like just that last part definitely dragged by. So that's my opinion.
All right, so in 10th place we have The Ugly Truth. So, um, like the third wheel and like how Michael was saying, this book also had a lot of drama between Greg and Raleigh, and this is the book that started the drama that I was talking about in Hard Luck. So basically, they went to this like overnight thing in their school, and they got into some friend drama. And you guys should read the book to uh, get a better understanding of it. But it's basically a drama filled book, and it's new and there's new characters, but they're really uninteresting. And all the settings in the books are kind of weird compared to the Wimpy Kid world, and it's one of the worst books in the series that started the four-book long drama between Greg and Raleigh. But there were a few moments that were funny, like Fredley being in the ball pit and Greg thought it was a critter. But other than that, this book really just didn't like fit in the Wimpy Kid series much. Even though it did start a big drama, which led to more books. Other than that, this was not really one of the better books.
Mhm. That book specifically, I think, was like great growing up, just kind of like that cycle. But yeah, definitely get what you're saying there. Okay, so in ninth place we have The Getaway. Um, Personally, when I saw it coming out, I was really excited. I think it has a great cover. I think it has like a great idea. Story is a great idea. The final product actually really sold me. The tropical resort was a kind of like a good way to get out of the our normal environment, kind of like how the long haul was, like a just completely different vibe that I think really worked. It didn't feel rushed like the deep end. You could just see that they kind of just wanted to get away. And it also had some fun suspense to it, as opposed to unrealistic suspense. Like there was things like spider on the toilet and things like running away from cops after stealing clothes, like fun suspense. And also the Heavleys still kind of had that vibe of looking out for each other, kind of. Um, so I think they did a good, like a new idea, and I think it actually worked really well.
All right, in eighth place we have Old School. So Old School was definitely one of the better books in the series. It did a good job of having a blend between the characteristics of Greg, while also incorporating a new setting into the story, which other books didn't do as well. And I like those instructive moments that Greg went through at the camp, like when he didn't know how to light a fire, and he went through a book his grandpa gave him. Like those moments were kind of funny and instructive, and those moments were added to the plot very well. But this was a really good book, and I think Jeff Kinney really nailed it in incorporating a new setting into this book, because as we've seen in other books, they have not done that really well.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. In seventh place, we have the meltdown, and this is one that I was a little bit underwhelmed when the cover and like release stuff came out, just because it kind of didn't interest me as much as I thought it might be. But when the actual book came out, I really liked it. I think it had a fun neighborhood aspect. We kind of got to see Greg also be a little bit more interesting. Like, and it wasn't even like focusing on him. It was kind of like branching off a little bit in like a new setting. The snowball fight I think was kind of fun. How it kind of like it dragged by, and it just I think I just really did like the neighborhood aspect in it. The only thing that I just was just kind of off to me is I was like, did what happened kind of like did it really do anything to advance any of like the characters or like advance like anything? And it didn't, and I think that's fine now that I think about it more. So I think it is a good book.
Yeah, I agree with there with you. I also thought that the book wouldn't be that interesting, but it actually was. So anyway, in sixth place, we have Wrecking Ball. So this story had a really good plot, in my opinion. It kept me super tense throughout the whole book because we didn't know if they were actually going to move, and then there would be new characters in the Wimpy Kids series, and we didn't know how that would turn out, and it kept me kind of excited to see more characters, but it also kept me kind of sad that the old characters would be less involved in the books to come. But then they eventually they didn't move. But it really made my imagination go wild on what would really happen to the Wimpy Kid series. But one thing I would say that they could have fixed to make the story a bit more realistic is that not having the hot tub fall all the way through the house at the end. But other than that, it's a pretty good book.
Yeah, that I think just kind of started the unrealistic path for Wimpy Kid that led into the deep end. So
Yeah, that's definitely it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so in fifth place we have Cabin Fever. I really love this book. We kind of got the lockdown vibe, kind of. And this is still part of the original six, which I consider kind of like OG Wimpy Kid in a way. Um, the just the locked in vibe, and it still had the Heffleys acting like a family. We kind of saw that struggle going on there, and because like the dad wasn't there, I think it made it just a little bit more interesting. It kind of had some dramatic stuff in it, but I really did like just the Heffleys kind of still being there for one another, and the creepy doll that was kind of a part of it, kind of creepy in a good way. So and I just kind of enjoy just like the Heffleys banter.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one. In fourth place, we have the first Diary from a Wicked book, and you kind of have to give this one props because this book has how the series all started. All the books are based off of this one with the characters and their stories and how they are and their characteristics. But this affected all the books to the ones we see today. And this combined with the fact that this introductory story to the Wimpy Kid world was actually a pretty good story that ended with Riley eating the cheese. That this makes an easy top five for me.
Yeah, it's a very like it's the start of the series, so you kind of have to give it like you have to give it up there. It's just yeah, it really introduces everything in a good way. Okay, so in third place we have Roderick Rolls, and I relate to this one the most. I have an older brother, but it also makes Greg more relatable. It makes we like Roderick a little bit more. We kind of go back and forth. Do we like him or not? And I really wish we just got more of him later on. But we just see that relationship. It's a very interesting relationship. It kind of keeps us in tune, and it's just relatable, like I said. And it still had that middle school vibe that kind of carried on from the first book. So I just really enjoy just that specific relationship right there. And I think, but it just made it to like Roderick. I mean, he's probably one of my favorite characters when I really think about it more. So it was nice for him to have some time. And again, Greg had a realistic struggle, which was bonding with his brother, and I did like that.
Yeah, I have to agree with you because nowadays in the later books, we really don't see Roderick as much, and we do still see him, but he doesn't do all of that pranks and all of that stuff that he used to do before. And I wish we got that more. So hopefully we can get that in Big Shot. Anyway, in second place, we have The Long Haul. So this, in my opinion, is the peak of the book series. Um, in the timeline. So this includes many diverse and crazy stories all going on at the same time, and that really enhances the quality of the book. The road trip idea also added a good touch to the story, considering how Greg is super lazy and his mom is super energetic, and they're all on a road trip. So those characteristics blending together would result in a hilarious book. So I think this is the peak of the series in the timeline, but not in the whole series.
Also had a lot of it was realistic, but it really just had like a lot of fun moments and like really like I mean you look at like the deep end and how we weren't really into the road trip vibe, but it really like that really did it for me, that type of thing. Okay. So we have Dog Days here for number one place. And I gotta say, this is probably the best book and movie. Um, and I think it's because they gave us something a little bit different. We're kind of out of school now. We kind of see Gray going out, branching out, doing other stuff besides playing video games. So it's nice to get Greg out there a little bit more. We kind of saw him having a secret crush and like being like so obvious about it. And him and Rowley's like mowing business was a lot of fun too. So just seeing like Greg, just kind of like have something else to do. And it wasn't really like a boring plot. And sure, it did start the rivalry between them, but luckily that came later on in the book. But just a lot of fun with just different summer stuff going on. Okay.
Yeah, and this is probably also one of my favorite books. Um, The Long Haul and Dog Days are pretty much my favorite two books in this whole series. Yeah, and Wrecking Ball would be a close third, but if we're talking about like this is in the recent Dark and Beacon history, but if we're talking about the whole series, then this ranking would really work.
Yeah. Um, so a few more things before we get off of here. It's interesting to see how Big Shot is kind of going to rank in here. It could either go one or two ways. It could just be worse than the deep end, which I really doubt it could be, because I think that they're starting it off with a more interesting and more um, like
Middle school vibe.
yeah. So I think that it's not I doubt it's going to be worse than the deep end. It could still be unrealistic, but I think it could end up being in that top like half. It could end up being like in the 1 through 8 area, and it's going to be interesting when we eventually get it and read it and like really like think about it. We could definitely like add it to our rankings and try to find a spot in there. So, where do you think he'll rank, Big Shot?
I think it'll rank between 11 and 6. We'll say between one of those, it should rank there because the plot seems more interesting and more Wimpy kid like than the past few books. And as you said, like Double Down was the last book that really had a middle school vibe. I guess you could say the Meltdown had one too, but not as much as Double Down. So if that's gonna come back in Big Shot, even though it's more about athletics, it's still part of the school. So we'll see how that turns out.
Hmm. Yeah. So overall, it was fun to come in and rank these. We really do love the series, and we really just get really excited when a new book is going to come out. I mean, or I just wait every year just for the cover reveal, and that just really gets me excited. So I was obviously really excited when I found out about Big Shaw. And I thought, I thought before this, should we try to add Riley's books in? But I also feel like that's something totally different that probably wouldn't fit into our rankings because it wouldn't really be fair. But I'm sure maybe if this Rally's book does like continue for a long time, maybe eventually we can do ranking. I think it will. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Jeff Kinney's onto something with the Raleigh books, and I think he's going to continue making them because the Wind Begin theories, like most people, when the 16th book the cover got revealed, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this still exists. Oh, you're still making books, right?" So I think Jeff Kinney knows that this series has been going on for longer than people expected. So I think he's gonna branch onto the Rowley series soon from now.
Yeah, maybe even more stuff. I mean, I think a Roderick series would be awesome, even though I doubt we're gonna get it. But Rally stuff, I think, yeah, like I said, I think he got onto something there. I think all three of them did a pretty good job. I mean, sure, the third one wasn't like Rally really doing it, but I think all three of them really are just interesting me a lot. Okay, so anything else you want to say before we close?
No, not really. But I think if you want to have the peak of the series, I think Dog Days is a good book for you to start. Obviously, read the first one if you want to get into the series, but Dog Days is one of the best.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it just depends on what you're interested in. I mean, I think every book kind of covers some sort of thing that everyone can relate to, whether it's like sibling troubles, whether it's like summer vacation, you just really like that, whether it's road trip, whether it's just middle school. I think and that's what Jeff Kinney just did a really good job with, just like covering every mature topic. And just, I think, so if you're looking for sibling, look at Roderick Rules. Summer, look at Dog Days. I think that's just kind of where you're looking, but I was just suggesting you just go ahead and read all of them. But what's good here is that it's not like a end of book is like cliffhanger, so you can just it's not like something you necessarily have to read in order, although um, most people probably do, but it's up to you. He really just makes a lot of cool books. So yeah, we're hoping to do some more stuff this summer. I'm not sure what. Maybe we'll do something about the movies. I think we just gotta find stuff to do until Big Shot comes out, which is still a while away, unfortunately. But yeah,
Yeah, we could do some stuff about the animated movie and other stuff. So
yeah, yeah. Animated movies definitely. We can probably cover that. I'm assuming whenever that comes out. I don't know when, but okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get off of here, but leave a like. If you have rankings, comment down below. So yeah,
yeah,
thanks for joining me. You can follow Akshay. I'll put his channel link in the description. Real time fun. So yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching the Wimpy Studio. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye.